Hello all you wonderful, beautiful, and craptastic people. CraptasticJack here, and today I wanted to talk about Grid Autosport and how it was disappointing in my eyes. So without further interruptions, let us begin. Whatever. So what do you guys think about Grid Autosport? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Or is it okay or disappointing? It, for me, is disappointing, but it's okay. And I have 3 reasons why Grid Autosport was disappointing in my eyes. Now, these reasons aren't in any particular order, so without further interruptions, let us begin. Reason 1 is the career progression. Your career progression for single player in Grid Autosport isn't that good. Let me explain. The way the game progresses is that you have several race types, and you rank up in each. You start off in an old and cheap car, and you work your way up to fast exotic cars. This sounds good in theory. All good racing games should be like that, but only you don't own the cars you drive. Your team owns the cars. Each season you sign a deal with a team that you have to race for, but I don't like how you don't own the cars and you don't get to select what cars you get to drive. That feels like the game is in control and you aren't. Plus, money doesn't seem to be a matter at all, in single player at least. You don't have to buy the cars, you don't have to worry about winning races in order to get more money, in order to get better cars. You don't have to worry about that because your team handles that all, which I find disappointing. It gets rid of a certain fun factor that you see in the game, in a game like that. Like Grid 2, you bought cars and by winning races, stuff like that. And all good racing games should be like that. Reason 2 can be subjective, but for me, the game just isn't that fun. It doesn't have replay value for me. For me, I can't finish the game without... I can't finish the game, for me, basically. Nothing makes me want to finish it. Nothing drags me in. Nothing is making me crave to that game. This has to do with the game not letting you buy cars, not having currency that actually matters, and track racers, I guess, just don't appeal to me as much as, let's say, street racing games. They just don't. I don't care if it's an arcade game, it still doesn't appeal to me as much as a arcade racing, street racing game. And the repetitiveness of the game. I find myself opening Grid Autosport only when I want to get some gameplay, when I don't have any other gameplay. Other than that, I don't touch the game. So, basically, the game for me just isn't appealing as much as, say, Need for Speed, or like a good game that is repetitive with its track selection and stuff like that is, of course, Need for Speed Underground. But the game, of course, isn't. That game is repetitive, but it still drags me in somehow with the car customization and the killer music. You don't have race music in this game, and that's something that kind of pulls me away from the game, because I'd much rather play a game that has race music than, say, a game that doesn't. I mean, even Gran Turismo has race music, and the race music in that game is actually pretty killer. As you know, I'm a metalhead, and I like rock. I don't know. I think this can apply to almost anybody. Or if you like to rather listen to the engine sounds of the engine, stuff like that, then go ahead. But I'd at least have the option to have race music in this game. And the final reason why this game was disappointing is how the game is repetitive. I found myself, of course, I already covered this, but I found myself driving at the same locations over and over again. Now, repetitive gameplay can be good if it is done well. And an example is Need for Speed. I wrote Undercover, I'm like a dumbass, it's Underground, where the tracks were repetitive and yet the game was fun and just felt more fun. Having a killer soundtrack and being able to customize your cars, where Grid Autosport, you just don't even own your cars. Now, don't get me wrong, Grid Autosport isn't a bad game. I just expected more from it. Now, I have never played Grid 1, so I can't explain anything about that game, and I can't compare it to this game. And I have barely played Grid 2, so I don't know how much of that game stands up to this Grid. But I've heard that from a bunch of people that this game is better than Grid 2. But at the end of the day, like most racing games, it comes down to a matter of opinion. So what are your thoughts on Grid Autosport? Was it good, bad, did you like it? Be sure to leave your thoughts below. And guys, thank you guys so much for watching. If not already, don't forget to rate, comment, favorite, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Have a good one.
playing that over and over. Great win.